What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking Season 2, Episode 9 of the Edge and Christian show entitled Sitcom Powerbomb. So, the vibe that I got from this episode felt a lot like Interdimensional Cable, that edition of that episode of Rick and Morty from a few years ago. They did one every season. They did one for seasons 1, 2, and 3, all the seasons up to this point. This felt a lot like that, where they, like, some guys flipping through the channels, and we don't find out who's watching TV until the very end of this episode, which is about, 30 minutes long. It's, the longest Edge and Christian show installment to date, at least of Season 2. And this guy's flipping through the channels, or a girl, and they see all these different shows and parodies of certain shows. For example, we start off the show at WWE Superstar Jeopardy with the Riot Squad, and they make fun of Paul Smackage. He's a recurring character on this episode. So we see the Riot Squad, and they're talking about Andre, and they reference him. And then there's clips shown of various clips from WWE's history, like Randy Orton botching back in 2011 when he was on a commentary table. It was on SmackDown. It was in a match against Kane, from July of 2011. Don't ask me how I remember that. Orton fell over in the commentary table, knee first onto the ground. Then he started laughing. It was one of those weird things. Then we see an advertisement for Q Pow or whatever that fucking food that Becky Lynch eats that she was all hot about on Twitter about a year ago. We see an advertisement for that featuring Becky Lynch. A Scott Steiner WCW promo. A Montreal Screwjob parody, or a reenactment of what was going on before the Screwjob with Edge, Christian, Xavier Woods as Mr. T, talking about his mama from the Hall of Fame in 2014, and Pat Patterson. Then we get a Saved by the Bell parody with Edge and Christian, which I thought was well done. Then we have a parody of an 8-man Hell in a Cell match. They name drop Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, The Undertaker, even CM Punk. And they mock the fact that there's so many damn international commentary teams, like the German announce team, the Chinese announce team, the Canadian announce team, the Mark announce team, and they keep going back to it throughout the episode. So more on that in a moment. But I thought that was really funny too. They bring back, will WWE talk about it? And this topic is Christian being in the Hall of Fame, and that's a big fat no. And I'll laugh if Christian is revealed to be the latest inductee in the Hall of Fame one of these days, after all the jokes they made about him not being in the Hall of Fame throughout this entire season of Edge and Christian. Girls and Cars music video plays. If that's an actual song, I was not aware. We have Tommy Dreamer, Christian, and Dasha Fuentes mocking Modern Family. I didn't know it was a Modern Family knockoff until I saw Dasha Fuentes mocking the Spanish woman, who I think was engaged or married, and they may have since split up. Joe Manganiello, whatever his name is. We see Dasha Fuentes in that role, and she knocked it out of the park. She was a perfect fit for that character. We get a knockoff of Cheers, which is Chumps. Paul Smackage appears again. Edge and Christian are riding with Hillbilly Jim, being chased by Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a police car. Bailey's in this Stranger Things knockoff or parody. I don't know what that was of. Then it's a I Met Your Mother knockoff with How I Met Your Brother. They talk about the brother thing on the Edge and Christian Show podcast all the time. So they mock that. They mock more commentary teams. Then they bring back the Chump Stain Challenge. So up to this point, Edge has 4 points. Christian has 3 points. Now they're tied also 1-1. So Edge is up by 1 point. This edition is called Posterized. I love the Chump Stain Challenge here. So basically what it is that they're given a snippet of an old WWE pay-per-view poster, and they have to guess what pay-per-view it's for. Not the exact year. I mean, that would have been a little difficult. But they had to guess, what pay-per-view is this for? So they show a little snippet of an Extreme Rules 2015 poster. A lot of these, I could even tell you the year, because a lot of these were from the past 10 years. Some from '08, one from 2015. They've done a lot in the last couple of years. And Christian constantly mocked himself throughout in the fact that he was never on a pay-per-view poster, which is a massive shame. But anyway, Christian ends up winning, and he got all of his questions right. Edge got a few wrong. There was SummerSlam 98 in there, some old ones. I think I got every single one right. And I was impressed with myself with that, because I'm not overly familiar with all the old pay-per-view posters, but even the SummerSlam one was obvious, depending on who's on it, and Even Christian gets like an old Backlash pay-per-view poster that he was not in the company for, but he remembered like the theme of pay-per-view posters. And his rationale was, well, I was never on a pay-per-view poster, so I thought about a lot what it would have looked like if I was on a pay-per-view poster. So I've studied a lot of old pay-per-view posters as a result. So anyway, we get a clip of the old Teddy Long botch from an episode of SmackDown in early 2011 when he was talking about the longest running SmackDown historical milestone, all this other shit. We get a commercial for a Stacker 2-Stack Stinger Fat Burner, whatever it was called, with Mojo Rawley promoting the product. And he started. It was actually it was probably the funniest thing on this entire episode, to be honest with you. Mojo Rawley being in anything remotely funny, I thought was, completely unbelievable. I did not think that would ever happen, but it did. I thought he was great here. They mentioned TNA, the Main Event Mafia, the fact that Sting was in all these things, and then he said, fuck Zack Ryder, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was great. Another Paul Smackage appearance on this episode as well, soon after that. And then we get the parody of Leave It to Beaver, but it's a Leave It to Cleaver, which WWE themselves did many years ago, like the cleavages or whatever the fuck it was. It was a dumb segment they did back in the 90s. It had Edge, Christian in this one, AJ Styles as the young boy, and Renee Young as the mom. I think Edge and Renee Young were the parents, and then Christian and Styles were like the young kids, and then Pete Gas comes in. Then we have a commercial for a strut bit, which is like a Fitbit, but it accounts for whenever you do a strut, like Bobby Roode or Ric Flair or Jeff Jarrett. I thought that was really funny too. Then we get a commercial for, instead of As the World Turns, which I know I've heard before somewhere, it's a show called As the Big Show Turns, and they make fun of the fact that Big Show has turned like 1,000,000 times over the course of his career. He turns face one second and then heel the next, which that was great. And then we're back to the commentary team thing, and they mentioned the Marks commentating this Hell in a Cell match, and they're like, oh, Samoa Joe's so underutilized, and all this other shit, which I thought was great. And then Corey Graves goes, oh, what a Hell in a Cell match we just witnessed. What'd you think, Tom Phillips? And then Tom goes, honestly, I'm just going to wait to see what Dave Meltzer has to say. And I popped big for that. I thought that was great. Then we get the return of Tout. Miz is like, it has everything you don't remember about Tout, and they're making fun of that, which I thought was amazing too. We get a Walking Dead parody with Mick Foley, Tommy Dreamer, and Edge. We get the return of Piper's Pit, but instead of Piper, obviously, because he passed away years ago, it's Edge as Roddy Piper, as Hot Rod, although the R is the Rated R Superstar, logo, whatever. Corey Graves is Jesse Ventura, but instead it's Gravy the Body instead of Jesse the Body. And then instead of Hulk Hogan, it's Culk Hogan, who's, what's his name? The kid from Home Alone. McCulkin, whatever his first name is. He was on this as Hulk Hogan. And Paul Smackage appears as well. And then they make fun of like Paul Heyman guys, because they're trying to reenact when Hulk Hogan got challenged at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship by Andre the Giant. And they make fun of the fact, and Paul Heyman is there. Christian is supposed to be Paul Heyman, even though he was not in the original segment back in the 80s. And they mock the fact that, hey, I know Brock Lesnar and CM Punk work, but, Ryback, Curtis Axel, and Cesaro never got over. Ha ha ha, which that was hilarious. And then it's revealed at the end of this entire thing that the person watching TV the whole time was none other than JBL. He's like, oh man, I was really hoping to watch some porn, or whatever the fuck it was. It was really funny. The first funny thing I've seen with JBL in years. But yeah, this was great. All the segments were very quick. They were over within a minute, if that. It was ever-changing. Again, felt a lot like the Interdimensional Cable episode of Rick and Morty from a few years ago, if you're familiar with that show. And I thought everyone, they had a lot of great bits here. The Stinger one, the commentary theme one, the Tout thing I thought was hilarious. The Chump Stain Challenge, say that 10 times fast, was great as always as well. This was good. I thought it would be a little long in the tooth at 33 minutes in length, but it flew by, and the 33 minutes was over like that. There we go. Just waiting for the good snapper there. But yeah, that does it for this edition of the Edge and Christian Show, Season 2, Episode 9, entitled Sitcom Powerbomb, which aired after Raw this past week on the WWE Network. Check it out right now under the Originals category on the network. There is another episode in the can being airing this Monday after Raw on the network as well, I believe, unless they move it to another week. So I don't know when the season wraps up. That's going to be episode 10. So I don't know if they did 10 episodes or 15 or 13, who knows. I'm sure we'll find out when we get there, but they didn't promote it as the season finale. So it looks like just another episode of the Edge and Christian Show, which is very entertaining as always. So check it out on the WWE Network, Mondays after Raw. So that being said, guys, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'll be back soon enough here on the channel with more reviews. Actually, the Total Bellas reviews are back on Monday. Total Bellas, they did not air a new episode this past week for Super Bowl Sunday, but the show is back this Sunday on the E! Network, so I'll talk all about Total Bellas Season 4, Episode, I believe 4, here on Network and Chill soon enough, so stay tuned for that as well. So until then, guys, I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.